closer, everyone. Come closer.
Now let's light some candles and think about people we may have known, or people that are affected with HIV and AIDS in Bournemouth and beyond. And let's particularly think about the children in the third world that are affected with HIV. And as we light our candles, if you just stop and think for a few moments of those things that are important to you. And we have now some words.
We do have some words. John said to me the other day, have you heard who's volunteered to speak outside Flirt? And I said, no, who's that? And he said, it's you. So thank you. Canon John. He was a father, but now he's been fired. He's a canon. So, here we are. Over 20 years ago, the TV and cinemas, some of you might remember, played commercials with crashing tombstones and the word AIDS across them. The colours were all dark and the commercials or the information adverts were full of smoke, and it looked like a trailer for a disaster movie. It felt like a disaster at the time, because this disease we really didn't understand, and it condemned people who suffered from it and those who worked within it, within that world or the communities that it affected. 20 years ago, Peter and I had Legend Cafe Bar across the other side of town. Up the road from there was Sanctuary, which looked after people suffering from that wretched illness. In those days of mixed understanding and judgments, there was a danger that once again, communities would judge and alienate each other for safety or self-protection. Learning about HIV and AIDS from the tabloid newspapers in those pre-internet days. The community of customers that came into Legend Cafe Bar was very similar to what we see in Flirt today, although perhaps even more unusual to see such a mix of people, considering that that was 2 decades ago. Facing what we were facing in those days, old, young, families, gay, straight, trans, Brits, foreigners, really just normal people that make up a community but don't often knowingly sit together. It wasn't unusual to come into Legend and find a wreath there, often at the request of someone that had died from HIV, who wanted the flowers to be at a place that they liked to visit. If ever that's a warning to people about the dangers of HIV in those days, I'm not sure what better education there was, a wreath in a cafe. It wasn't unusual for the amazing carers of Sanctuary to bring the people in that they were looking after into Legend. In those days, getting thinner with each visit, tired, starting to use wheelchairs. But it was a remarkable sign of the unification of our local community, the sign that not everyone judges, and the sign that not everyone was afraid of catching HIV by being in the same room. It was an education to all of us about the disease, but also the importance of community and support. Sadly, many people are not here to see the result of what they were part of. I wonder what they would say, those who had their funeral wreaths at Legend, what they would say to the people stood here outside Flirt tonight, marking World AIDS Day 20 years later. And to those who are getting infected nowadays, thinking taking medication will keep it at bay and the lifestyle they enjoy is worth the risk. What is important is that whatever happens in the world, we are a community here in Bournemouth that cares, that understands, but it's a community that's still worried about the future. The education is out there in the world about how to avoid the infection, but now with the age of people contracting it getting younger, we're facing a generation who thinks it's perhaps not as bad a disease when medication can keep it at bay, that they won't really die because they're young and of course immortal. But we're in this together. We always have been. To keep talking about avoiding HIV, supporting and not judging those affected, and to keep our special sense of community alive. Let's not be complacent about the disease, and let's not be complacent about those who judge. HIV affects the body's immune system and its defences. Let's not make anyone suffering have to put up more defences of a personal nature. We've been through the decades of seeing the deaths from HIV, and although we are so pleased that the survival rates are better than when it first hit us, we simply all want it not to exist. Let's keep doing what we do. Let's stick together. But above all tonight, let's remember the ones that we've lost over the years. The candles that we're going to light are a small sign of the lightness that people brought to our world. And perhaps losing them has brought our understanding of HIV to where it is today. We just don't want them to have gone in vain. We don't want to forget the people that we knew. Tonight we remember them, and tomorrow we'll remember them. But also tomorrow we will strive forward in continuing to deal with HIV. So get to Over the Rainbow for knowledge and testing. Support the community events, raising awareness and education and funds. Attend the gatherings when we remember those that we've lost. So let's light the candles and remember. And I would just like to end by saying, on behalf of those that we do remember and would love to be standing here, we thank them for being here, and we thank you for coming.
I haven't got money what John gave me earlier.